Hello, and welcome to a new video. Today, guys, we are making hopefully a short video about the top teams that you can use to make your final push. I mean, the season is technically almost over. We have less than a week in total. So I'm gonna pick 3 teams for each league. 3 teams for Great League and the 3 for Ultra League. Didn't see a point in making a 10-12 teams video, especially for 2 leagues. However, if you feel like you want to see them, I already uploaded this season, one for Ultra League and one for Great League, and after testing them out, they kind of turned out to be alright, so mostly all of them, so you can check this one out, but these are gonna be, my favorite amongst them. So without waiting, let's get into the teams. Alright, let's start with 3 teams in the Ultra League, because if I start with Great League, none of you will watch any of these, so it'll be a total waste of time. No, for real though. I tested this team out lately after I started playing Ultra League. I made the video and stuff like that. I don't believe I included this in the top teams for Ultra League video. However, this team turned out to be quite good. Granted, I was going for teams that are somewhat affordable. I mean, here you have a legendary, true, but it's not XL. It doesn't require an elite TM. None of these require an elite TM, so that's good. The other 2 are kind of cheap. Well, look, affordable or cheap is, in terms of Ultra League, different than in terms of Great League. Because here, mostly, if you have a good Pokemon, it'll be like level 35, 40, 45, somewhat like that. So it'll still cost you a lot of dust, but it's not fully XL. And as you know, the last levels of XLs require 20 XLs. Meanwhile, the first barely require a few. So, like the first 44, 45 levels don't really require much XLs, like 40, 50. So, Trevenant was everywhere. In the Halloween Cup, the Halloween event, Golisopod is somewhat available, was available throughout most seasons, and it's kind of a good Pokemon, so I highly recommend actually you guys invest in one. And Regirock was, of course, available not so long ago, and in general, it's a good Pokemon. Rock isn't as good as Steel, so let's get this thing straight. In general, as a typing, but Stone Edge is very cheap, and offensively, Rock isn't bad. So, this is the difference between Regirock and Registeel. And the Regirock also has some good bulk to it. It kind of wins the MP over Registeel, so it has that as well, as an advantage, This team has Core Breakers, as you would assume. Cobalion has access to Stone Edge. And as you know, Golisopod is part water and part bug, so it takes super effective damage from rock type moves, as well as it's a fighter, so it kind of beats Regirock. Only Trev deals well with it. The other thing, Tentacruel. Tentacruel, if you have Earthquake, on Regirock you can hit it for super effective damage, but generally it's not worth it. And most importantly, it's not consistent. Like, you will not be one-shotting Tentacruel, so I don't really see a point in going for Earthquake, especially after the nerf. Like, pre-nerf, yeah, I would go for Earthquake right away without a doubt, but now, yeah, it doesn't make much sense. However, Tentacruel also has a good matchup versus the other 2 in the back. I believe it beats Trevenant, as well as it beats Golisopod. Golisopod has Liquidation. Liquidation is a good move. However, Liquidation is resisted on Tentacruel, and Tentacruel is very bulky. And Aerial Ace is not stab, and although it got buffed, still, Aerial Ace isn't actually a good move by any means. Alright, let's get this thing out. So, it's not stab. Yeah, I myself prefer to always go for Liquidation. Even when Liquidation is one stage resisted and Aerial Ace is neutral. Solely because I'm fishing for the boost, to be honest. But yeah, Aerial Ace is barely better by like 1 or 2 more damage. So, another Core Breaker is, of course, Scrafty. Scrafty, I believe, beats the 3 Pokemons. It resists the Shadow Claw. Even though it's dealing resisted damage as well to both Trev and Golisopod with a fast move. course, Trav double resisted, it's a ghost type, and single resistance from Golisopod as a bog type. Rock takes super effective damage from Scrafty, from counter fighting damage, of course. However, Scrafty has Foul Play for Trevenant, and Foul Play as a neutral move is good, especially its stab, so, you know, even though Aerial Ace is super effective damage. In the simulation, I believe the zeros or the ones are for Scrafty. So all in all, it's a tough Pokemon. Zygarde, well, I included Zygarde this time around, but technically speaking, Zygarde beats everything. It's a broken Pokemon, and I hope we never get enough to where we see Zygarde in the Ultra League. So hopefully Niantic only gives us one Zygarde. Please don't give us two. I beg you, don't give us two. One Zygarde, everyone's gonna build it for Master League because it shines there the most, so we will be safe in Ultra League. But if we start getting two Zygardes, especially since we don't need the XLs, yeah, it's gonna ruin the Ultra League. So yeah, let's move into the next team. Alright, next team for the Ultra League as well. I believe I have made a video about this one. I tried it, I went very positive with it. My friend tried it and went very positive with it. Of course, it's not the best team out there, no, not by any means, but it's affordable. 2 of the 3 Pokemon have had a community day, so you know we have a lot of resources for them, and in general it's Trav. As we said before, it's not that highly costly by any means. However, it has many core breakers, and the team, all in all, it's tough to try out and play. But it's rewarding, like it went well for me, it went well for my friend, and if you don't have many Pokemons to try out, yeah, it's a good team. Of course, the Pidgey evolution, Pidgeot, well, as a flying type in general, it beats both the lead and the safe stop, which is, you know, Poliwrath. Okay, Poliwrath here has a role of baiting out electric types. However, we have to emphasize that electric types don't really struggle against Trevenant, because the electric type that is around is Ampharos, and Ampharos has access to Brutal Swing, and Shadow Ampharos demolishes Trevenant with a Brutal Swing. I mean, it can 2-shot, I believe, plus Volt Switch damage a Giratina, so you get a point of how attack weighted it is. And of course we have another thing, we have Weezing, Galarian Weezing. Weezing has access to Play Rough, and I've seen it a lot. Play Rough and Brutal Swing, so it hits super effective damage versus Trevenant, and same applies to our fighter, Poliwrath. Tentacruel, well, Tentacruel beats everything. This thing is so bulky, I mean. Too much bulk. Plus Poison Jab, yeah. But they all have somewhat of a play against it, so it doesn't destroy everything. Zard less, of course, because its charge moves hitting one. Scald is resistant on Poliwrath, and counter is overpowered, so when it's only single resisted, it kind of adds up with the Scald damage, and Poliwrath is pretty tanky as well, so you know, all in all, you can still have play. I didn't struggle against it, like I wasn't going teams and getting destroyed or anything. No, even in tough matchups, I still had a play around. To be fair, that applies to Ultra League in general, as Pokemons are fairly bulky. Well, let's move into the final Ultra League team. Alright, as the final Ultra League team, I picked my all top performing team. I love this team, it's very bulky. It has play nearly against everything. I mean, even the core breakers, kind of, you can still hit them to some extent. Look, Giratina, here is the thing. When I used to use this team, I used to use it with Dragon Breath as well as the Rock Move, Ancient Power, but that was different nowadays. However, you gotta understand that in simulation, Shadow Claw, Dragon Claw, and Shadow Sneak, even for this team, is preferred. But, and that is a big but, your team struggles against fire, so Charizard as well as Talonflame. And not having Ancient Power makes these matchups a bit hard to play. Like, they won't be as easy as having Ancient Power. Especially Charizard, because, you know, it's hitting super effective damage versus Giratina, despite Giratina being a broken Pokemon, but still hitting it for consistent super effective damage, even if non-stab still adds up. So it won't be that comfortable of a matchup, especially since Registeel as well doesn't have a fast move pressure, So they will reach a blast burn most probably if they win a matchup and stuff like that. I struggled when I played it this season. I played it with Shadow Claw, Dragon Claw, Shadow Claw, and Shadow Sneak. Sorry, yeah, I used this lineup, but I was missing Ancient Power. However, if you are facing stuff like Scrafty, stuff like Obstagon, maybe consider Dragon Brass. Dragon Brass Giratina beats those, and if it doesn't beat them consistently, depending on IVs of course, you get them pretty low. For example, if Goon boost from the first Night Slash, it's gonna destroy you, regardless. But them hitting for double resisted damage with counter, because you are a ghost type, and you are hitting for neutral stab damage with Dragon Breath, kind of makes matchup in your favor. So even in Greedent and Dubwall leads, you kind of still do well against them with Dragon Breath. Crunch is the non-stab, same as Payback, and you know, they aren't dealing much damage because their fast move is resisted. So, you know, maybe consider Dragon Breath Giratina, it's not bad. However, you need Shadow Sneak, especially for stuff like Annihilate. You hit it for super effective damage, so it's not bad. All in all, pick your own thing depending on the metas that you are seeing. But this team is good, it's an ABB line. You bait out any ground, any fighting, any fire with Registeel. Registeel, of course, is your safe swap. And Registeel is broken in the Ultra League. Like, even in tough matchups, you can either put the Pokemon in farm down range, or in most cases, you can get shield advantage. And if you get or bait out the fighter or the flying or the fire type, Alolan Sandslash with shield advantage basically wrecks teams. It's not a bad Pokemon at all here. It's fairly bulky. But of course, this team isn't cheap. It's two legendaries, one Shadow XL Pokemon, one Legendary XL Pokemon, so it's a very costly team. So, up to you, of course, if you have the Pokemons, but it's consistent, that's for sure. Now, let's move into the Great League. Alright, now we have the Great League. I'm gonna start things out with my best team for this season, like by far my best. I made this when I was making the top teams for the Great League video. It was an example team. When I make a top teams video, I explain how to make teams, and afterwards I make two example teams. One is made of a Pokemon that requires 2 shields, and either 2 Pokemon that don't require shields at all and strive in the 0 shield scenario, or one that does that, and one that plays good in everything. And the other team I pick 3 Pokemons from good at everything section. If you watch my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I make a team out of it. This was a team out of it because Lantern, Lickitung, and Mandibuzz do well in all shielding scenarios. So I tested this team out, and I cannot stress how strong it is. Like, I cannot talk about it enough. It's broken. This team, really, for me, it's broken. It has a play against everything, regardless of the matchup, regardless of the meta. It's bulky. 3 Pokemons are bulky. Granted, Lickitung maybe is or Mandy, I'm not so sure. Both are extremely bulky. And they all somewhat hit hard to some extent for a bulky Pokemon. Like Lickitung does a huge chunk of damage with Lick. Dark Pulse is a hard hitting move. And Lantern Spark is OP. Good job Niantic for nerfing it. So all in all, this team is quite good. It has a few core breakers, of course, but even when you are countered, this team still performs. So if you have the Pokemons, I'm not so sure it's worth investing that time of the season, but if you have the Pokemons, try them out. I highly recommend. Core breakers are, of course, a dragon that beats Mandibuzz because you are ABA weak to it, meaning both the dark and the ice dragons. Of course, as well as the ice and grass type, which is Among Us now. And of course the steel as well as the ground typing, because it beats both flying as well as electric. So, you know, these are the core breakers. But even Stunfisk versus Lantern, it's not a done deal, because you need to land the Earthquake, and if they call a bait, well, you call a bait. You are the Lantern user here. If you call a bait, if you shield the Earthquake, either way, you are putting them in a tough situation, especially because you are hitting for super effective damage. Surface Stab, it's a good move, and it's cheap. So it is your bait move after all. So, you know, even if they shielded, you kind of are doing good. For example, if you shield an Earthquake, you are shielding the first 8 mod shots. It requires Earthquake requires 8 mod shots for the first one and 7 for the second. Meanwhile, you need 6 sparks for Surf. So all in all, you are doing the most out of your shields in this scenario. So all in all, yeah, not a bad team. Bastion is kind of tricky because even though Lantern wins against Bastion, it's not comfortable by any means. So if your Lantern loses some health along the game, things get tough. Also, Snarl and Dark Pulse still are okay-ish. Lick and Power Whip still are okay-ish against Basti. So, you know, you can always have play with this team. Alright, let's move into the next team, the second one in the Great League. Alright, now this team isn't actually as easy to play as one would imagine. Registeel is a high skill Pokemon. Surprising because normally, you know, bulky Pokemons are not skill based at all, like Bastion and stuff like that. But Registeel is not like them. It requires a lot of experience in how to undercharge, how to maximize on your energy, how to play it in general. It's a very tricky Pokemon to use. Azo is consistent, but Pally is squishy, very squishy. It's one of my favorite Pokemon in the Great League this season, but it's very squishy. And if it sees a Lantern, it's game over. And this is a problem with this team. And this is why I'm saying it's risky. Because if you are in the meta where Lantern is literally in every team, you're gonna struggle. Registeel doesn't beat Lantern. Azo of course doesn't beat Lantern. And definitely Pelipper doesn't beat Lantern. Registeel of course has a neutral matchup versus Lantern. But if they shield, you know, if they take it up shields, yeah, you are in big trouble. You don't do any fast move damage unlike them, and they get their fast moves, the Surf one, pretty fast. So all in all, yeah, tricky matchup. Same applies to Trevenant. Trevenant beats Registeel and beats Azo, although Azo isn't a very comfortable matchup for Trevenant. Like, Trevenant beats Azo with 2 seed bombs, but Azo need to land, the Zeros will land 1 Ice Beam. So even though on paper Trevenant will win the matchup, it'll be in Farnham range for Pelipper. So all in all, it's not a dominating matchup by any means. Well, this is a dominating matchup. Deoxys. Deoxys defense actually beats Registeel, beats Azumarill, and beats Pelipper. Of course, one Thunderbolt will kill like 2 Pelippers, so it's double super effective. Both water and flying take super effective damage from the electric type. So it's kind of tricky. Same applies to, of course, Clodsire. Clodsire, you know, it's a ground type, so it resists the electric, double resist electric, and single resist Focus Blast due to its poison type. So it beats Registeel, it hard walls Registeel. However, depending on its moveset, it has a play against Azo as well as Pelipper, depending on the moveset, of course. If it has Sludge Bomb, it hits Azo for super effective damage, especially if Poison Sting and Sludge Bomb. It's a consistent poison damage versus Azo. However, Azo is dealing super effective damage with both Fast Move and Charge Move, regardless if you go for Ice Beam or Hydro Pump. And Pelipper has Weather Ball, which is a great move. However, if, and in most scenarios, they are running Stone Edge, it hits Pelipper for super effective damage as well. So, you know, Clodsire is tricky, but it's not very common nowadays. I'm not so sure about your elo, but all in all, Clodsire isn't very favorable. So, yeah, let's move into the final Great League team. Alright, the third and final Great League team is actually a classic one. You know, it's affordable, it's good, it's high performing. This season it was pretty broken. But I have a few tips if you want to run this team. Well, first of all, go for a high attack Whiscash. We are talking about 4 or 5 attack or so, preferably. I have built another one this season. I already had a rank 1. It's horrific to run rank 1 because rank 1 has the lowest attack in all of Whiscash. So you will always lose CMP. But many Whiscashes have Shadow form. And Shadow Whiscash tend to be, you know, it's not very found in the wild. So, you know, normally invest in any IVs you find, so you'll find like 4, 5 attack, even 6 attack, so it's tricky to run the normal one. I prefer the normal because it's bulkier and it can take a hit, especially when the other two aren't the most bulky Pokemon. They are somewhat bulky, both Skarmory is okay-ish, as well as Charjabug, so you know, but still not very. But you can run the Shadow. The Shadow performs greatly actually. It's even better, I believe, than the normal one. But yeah, all in all, it's a very RNG team. So that's an ABC line. You have the core of Whiscash and Skarmory, and you have a safe swap of Charjabug. Charjabug has a role of baiting out potential Bastiodon. Well, that's the role mainly. I don't believe many things beside fire, so something like Scaledridge and something like Bastiodon. Basically, these hardball Skarmory, not many other things. So, you know, you bait them out with your Charjabug, and you have 2 answers for grass, so it's a classic ABB line in a way. ABC style ABB, to be more precise. It's a good team. It has some core breakers, like Lickitung, who has access to Power Up, so it one-shot Whiscash, and it beats you know, the safe swap Charjabug, even though it's a neutral matchup. Trevenant, same technically, beats the lead, and Trevenant kind of has a play against the whole team, to be honest, but X-Scissor isn't bad, it's stab, and Charjabug can take a hit, so if you shield a Shadow Ball, you are in good position, and you can still maneuver your way around it. Another core breaker is the Dragon. You know, dragons, since they beat both electric as well as water, so they beat your lead and your safe swap, which makes them a core breaker. However, you have X-Scissor, a super effective damage for you know, the Guzzlord, and Arctivax isn't all that common, to be honest. It kind of fell off, especially when we have Annihilape everywhere, so you know, it's not the most common Pokemon. All in all, this team is safe. You can run also Lickitung instead of Charjabug. It will make the team a bit more bulky, a bit more consistent, I bet. I guess this team ranks as B in terms of PV poke, while if you put Lickitung, you gain 1A instead of a B. It's technically an upgrade, but you know, Charjabug is available. It's not excelled, and it had a Calm Day, unlike Lickitung, who requires a lot of excel, so if you don't have them, this one is cheap. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wish you all the luck, and regardless if you hit your goals or not, I'll try my best to help you guys out in the next season. I mean, it's gonna start soon, and we will have a fresh start. If you didn't check it, check my playlist. I made a playlist on, its name is How to Climb. I'm gonna be putting videos, you know, as you go up in level, what skills you need to do, etc. It's mostly a step-by-step guide in order how to go from an ace level to a legend level. So hopefully it's gonna be available in the most bulk of it, if not all, in the next season, throughout the next season. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys reach legend and reach your goals. If you want to push, I hope I don't have to push next season, but I'm probably gonna have to. So let's see how things go. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and please consider subscribing, liking the video, it helps the channel a lot. I hate asking for that, but I have to. So with that being said, see you in the next one. Bye bye guys.